So I got a 6 and a 4-year-old, right? And they love Inside Out. And I'm trying to be like cool dad and go, I know anger. I've known anger forever. They don't give a fuck.
No, they don't.
I think they're listening today. I'm like, I'm going to be talking to anger. And they just can't put it together.
No, well, I'll leave a message for the little pricks. Give me the phone, and I'll call those pricks up and put the fear of God in.
I went to see Inside Out. I have a 6-year-old stepson, and took him. My daughter's a year and a half, so she doesn't know anything. But we when I watched Inside Out, I couldn't believe how much of simultaneously that's a kids movie and an adult movie at this. It's
heavy.
The writer's so smart and so. I thought that was one of the best Pixar movies I've ever seen.
Right.
That and Shrek, I think, are the top two.
Know what's funny about animated?
Honestly,
I thought it was really something. And I'm not. And usually I'm like, okay, we did this, and then you go and you.
Right.
But the thing was, to be honest, I'd have liked to have seen that movie when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So that I didn't have to wait until I was 45 to find out there were emotions.
Yeah.
It might have saved some shrink bills.
No kidding.
Because it's wild. People would come up and say, there was like somebody came up and said, my daughter kept saying had a crayon and she was making red on the on the paper. She was drawing, but it was just this red thing, and the mom said, "What's that?" And she goes, she kept pointing at it, and she couldn't explain that it was anger, and the mother hadn't seen the movie, and then her neighbor came over and said, "Oh, she's angry."
Oh, very nice. Going to your point really fast, like with animated movies, I just assumed before I had kids that every animated movie was amazing. And then you realize there are truly hunks of shit out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And even the kids will pick up on it. I don't know what the difference is in a kid's eye, but they'll tell me right away, like, this sucks.
Well, I remember we had seen Home, which was good. It was an animated movie.
Yes, I saw Home.
That was okay. But then when we took my stepson to see Inside Out, that's the one that he's like, well, I had to buy it on TV for like now I own Inside Out because he was like, he wants to keep watching Inside Out.
Well, it's wild because part of the attraction of that, and I think for both kids and adults, and even is that it is the amount that it's just also the visual is insane.
Right.
I mean, you can sit there and after you watch it once and just watch the visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it was unbelievable to work. You know how long it took? 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years to make that movie.
They got in touch with me five years before the movie, and literally, this is what they said. They said, and they send you. First, they said they sent me this box, and they said, well, we want to do this thing, and it's basically the outline, the rudimentary outline of the film, and we don't know if you know who we are. And I'm thinking, what do they think? I'm a fucking shut-in? I'm like, I was like, but also it showed a humility you never see from people from studios at all.
Yeah.
And then they said, so they sent me a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of stuff I hadn't seen, shorts and also some of the long stuff I hadn't seen, and then pictures, the rudimentary drawings of what became anger, and then this script, a partial script, and I read the script and I went, oh my God, this is really. Well, I'll be in the first flop they've ever had. It just didn't read well.
Oh, really?
And I was stunned. They would send it, but I didn't care. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then you go out there, and by the time you get it, they say, well, now, and they go, so I said, yeah. And they said, well, we'll see you in 8 months.
Wow.
8 months later, I go out, and we do the preliminary stuff, and they take me around. Now, everything has changed. Now, they also, once they booked me 2 months later, they saw me, but I was performing in San Francisco. They came to see me, about 12 of them. But half of them are animators. The other half is kind of the production staff. Peter Doctor directed it and stuff. And now they're showing me what, drawings they did while I was on stage. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there going, this is insane.
Wow.
And then you come back 8 months later, and now it's evolved to something else, and then all of a sudden they've got much more of a through line, and you kind of oh wow, that's what you were going to do, because and then it just each time you went back, it was like it was the. I mean, rarely do you see the creative process in you get this, like if you're on TV, if you do a TV thing or a film thing or whatever, you just have the chunk.
Yeah.
You're not watching, you don't get a whole sense of the flow of it. But this really, you really had an insight into their creative process.
That's
from
pretty
beginning
cool.
to end, and they're the nicest people on earth.
And it took 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And then plus, like 3.5 or 3, I guess. I really don't know precisely when, but they're down the road on it.
Yeah.
And Peter Docter is going to a meeting with Lasseter, who is the hoo-ha at Disney, who's originally came out of Pixar, now runs Disney Animation, and is kind of their titular boss. And he says, and he's going, I got to go see Lasseter. And he says, because we got to, we're in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I mean, I just can't imagine that.
Amazing.
He said, no, he said, I knew we were in the wrong direction and we had to do this. And he said, okay. And then then they went out of what they were doing and
went in
took
another
the right
direction.
turn.
I can't believe it still takes 5 years to put an animation together. You would think with the computers and everything else, it would be a little faster.
Except you got to realize, I mean, when you're looking at it, it's not just the computer. They're shading the room, so the light in the room that I'm in. First of what's the inside of the mind's lighting.
Yeah.
Then once you get the lighting, then they have to fucking follow up with shit
Right.
around it. So it's a combo platter of stuff that's going on.
The detail.
Wow.
Their level of detail is
And in that
crazy.
5 years, are you just coming and going? Because they're obviously working on this every single day, like 12, 16 hours a day for 5 straight years.
Yeah.
And you just all of a sudden will get that call like, well, we need you again.
we roll in.
And then you roll in and see where they're
And
at.
I was never in the room with another actor.
Really?
That's what I was going to ask. So you did everything on your own. You never were with the other cast because you have so much dialogue with the other.
Well, they bring me down. Those people, Bill Hader,
Those pieces of
Bill
shit.
Hader, that prick. No, they were really. We just never were in the room because you don't. It's weird. You didn't. That's the other thing that they do. If you, what I really think is extraordinary. When you're watching that thing, is the way these people react to each other.
Yeah.
And that the choices that they're making make what I'm saying work as well as if Bill Hader was sitting next to me and we'd done it together.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
actually, what it allows them to do is choose really what they want me to do.
Yeah.
Because if Bill and I and Phyllis and the others were in the room together, it would we'd be bouncing stuff around, and change and basically kind of trying all sorts of things. It was kind of like, and then they'd have this. It was kind of like they hear it already so well that this is what we want.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well. I don't know if they could have. If us working in the room would work better.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it'd certainly be more fun.
But obviously,
Yeah.
someone's reading the lines of Bill Hader, so you got something to play
Yeah.
off.
amazing.
I remember you were in here talking about this the Inside Out, and what drives me nuts because I've known Louis for so long. He gets this huge gig, and you've had many huge gigs, obviously, but you're in a Pixar movie, and I'm like, man, the toy money must be sweet. And it turns out these guys don't really get a taste. What?
No,
they don't get a taste of the merch.
No.
And you're the one
Really?
that brought this character to life.
That's fucked up.
And that's why my son is like, I want Anger over the rest of them
Yeah.
because he liked your character the best. And so you obviously,
my character sold well in stores.
Yeah.
So
And you don't get
really,
any of that?
they
No.
gotta give.
Wow.
You should be able to
That's
get
messed up.
a taste, even if it's like. Even if it's I don't know, 1%, even like a 0.5%
Would be
something,
sweet.
just a little pocket money
the
for
other
Louis
thing
Black.
is that the thing that's disturbing is not so much if it didn't have the voice. That's
What?
what drives me a little crazy.
Right.
Oh, they put the voice in the toys.
I'm in Yeah,
we don't have one of those
I just
toys
signed
yet.
something that I went and I was looking at it and going, you push this thing, I talk.
Yeah.
This little fucker talks.
Right.
I mean, I got him around my house. It's disturbing.
And there's nothing. And even when you signed on to do the movie, that you probably already signed on.
You go. This is what they say. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what my voiceover agent said. My voiceover agent, who at that point in time had made about 12 cents off me,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Pixar wants you. I'm in."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. You don't even wait for the end of the
Of
sentence.
course,
You just
Because
do
it's
it.
so big. Yeah.
Because you don't
I
want
didn't
them to
even know
move on
what
to the
my-
next
I
guy.
literally didn't know what my contract was. I've
Wow.
never seen my contract.
You just did it.
I just did it.
Did it to do it. Yeah.
Was it?
And then you don't get. I mean, they didn't have to. They gave us bonuses.
Okay.
So
That's
that
good.
was
So that was nice of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other way you make money off of it, which is nothing to. I mean, look.
Yeah.
In the end, it's kind of like it's stupid money.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, I would feel better. I mean, to be honest, I'd feel better if they said, okay, after X, X amount of merchandise, we're going to send money to get children's libraries, education, something with the fucking money, rather than to build another gold lame toilet at Disney. So, but something nice.
Yeah.
Do something nice
Yeah.
with it.
Of
One
course.
would expect, but
Yeah.
it's just that they don't. It's just the only other place. The only other place the money comes from is DVD sales and stuff like that. After a certain point,
Okay.
And so I did. So
Yeah,
there's-
I'm sure this movie
Now-
sold very
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
DVDs and all that.
They got to be doing a second one.
I said if they don't do it quickly, I may not be around. So can we get on it?
Yeah, because if I would assume they haven't started unless maybe
Yeah.
there's a small group of people that have started and no one else knows about it yet.
Here's one of the problems they set up in the
Yeah.
film is that as the kid grows older, all the voices in your head take on the same sexuality.
Right.
So maybe the difficulty is which would be great as far as I'm concerned as a thing is that my character in that next episode would have to transition.
That'd be hilarious.